Welcome to Truth No Chaser. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Jay.
And I'm Frank. And this is the podcast for Black people, by Black people, about everything Black.
This is our flagship production. We are a shot of truth, stirred with bold opinions, reversing the miseducation of the Black community as it relates to culture, health, and politics.
And this evening we have joining us Miss Nneka and Miss Latisha. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes.
And together you all are known as
Russell Craigwell Consulting.
Russell Craigwell
Just goes so smooth. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I like that.
All right, let's get into these.
Welcome.
Yes, welcome. Let's get into these bios.
Thank you.
Latisha, founder of Latisha B. Russell and co-founder of Russell Craigwell HR Consulting, is a visionary HR strategist and business partner. With over 20 years of experience, Latisha is passionate about helping individuals reinvent their leadership and careers. She's earned a bachelor's degree in communications from Ball State University, a master's degree in organizational development and human resources from the University of Phoenix. Latisha has served as a global HR business partner across several industries. Impressive. Let's get into these bios, y'all. Let's get into Miss Nneka.
Bios,
right.
Yes, sir.
Nneka, co-founder of Russell Craigwell Consulting, is a highly regarded leader of the HR community with impressive career spanning 20 years across various industries. Her expertise in coaching, training, and professional development has helped several startups and Fortune 100 companies. Nneka holds a master's degree in human resources from Keller Graduate School of Management and a bachelor's degree in computer information systems from Alabama State University. She is a natural-born leader who is passionate about developing other future leaders. Let's welcome them to the show, lady.
Thank you.
Welcome, ladies.
Impressive.
For having us.
Love those bios.
So, I'm so slow. I know who both of y'all are. Latisha is a returning guest and friend of Truth No Chaser.
Yes.
And so I know both of them familiar. I was like, who Russell?
Right.
Took you a minute to realize that.
And they were like,
You know who they are.
Latisha. I was like, Russell Craigwell. So
yes,
I thought her and her husband name were Randy.
Where they get that from?
Oh, I'm Miss Randy now.
Right, I'm Miss Randy.
So I wasn't
That's
with
okay.
it.
We forgive you.
I'm with it now.
That's what's up.
Latisha.
So I want to know, so I kind of talked about this with y'all before we started recording, but that ever so thing, SWOT analysis and building a business, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities in the space that you all are in. Mm-hmm. What was the bubble that you all said, this is our opportunity? What was that?
So I'll start.
Okay.
So you heard from the bios that Ashley so eloquently read that we have 20 years apiece. Mm-hmm. That gives us 40 years experience in human resources. We get the calls. Hey girl, can you help me with my resume? Hey girl, I have an interview. Can you help me prep? Hey Miss Craigwell, we need you to come do youth diversion. And so those calls that had been done for free for years resulted in, okay, hold on one second. So I clearly have some gifts. This is what we do. We are good at it. Let's turn it into something that we're both passionate about and turn it from a volunteer opportunity into a paid experience. So that's part of it.
These are them free calls.
Right, getting paid for free, dropping gems for free. Now we getting paid to do it.
She said, it sounds like I am
Gifted.
consulting.
Right.
That's what it is.
I'm out. Y'all gonna have to start charging for this.
Right. Free counseling.
Yeah.
These words ain't free. So, that's the thing that a lot of folks have trouble doing, because there's two components to consulting. There's your expertise, and then there's the time that it takes for you to A, communicate the information, and B, if the information isn't on hand, you have to go find the information, and then to deliver it properly so that it's recordable, rememberable, and redeliverable. That takes time.
It does.
And it takes expertise in all three areas. And that's what drives a service that some folks don't want to pay for. They don't understand what goes behind it.
Yeah.
That part.
Absolutely.
That part.
And I'm going to piggyback off of also what Nneka said. Even though we've talked about this, we've been talking about it for how long? Quite some time. But COVID just really kind of forced the envelope, right?
Okay.
It was it is
into it.
time. It is the prime opportunity, because COVID, I think, made people realize that is this a career that I really want to stay in? And if not, what skills do I currently have that are transferable? Because now I want to do something different.
Right.
And so that was it was a great opportunity for us to do that. And with all things COVID happening, we were like, let's just go in, let's get it done. Let's jump 2 feet, and make sure that we commit to the work that we've continued to do over the course of the, several years that we've been doing this.
Now, Nneka, I was going to ask, that's what was one of my questions actually, as far as the coaching. It seems like that's what your entire existence is based off of. What, you
exist just to coach.
No. I mean, as far as Russell Craigwell, consulting guy.
She's also Miss Randy.
Right.
So let me address that real quick. So that's a big part
Hold on,
of
let
it.
you get your mic. Yeah, say it again. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So let me address that because that is a big part of it. But our entire existence is not just coaching. And so I know you guys are here for the questions, but I want to give you a couple nuggets.
Yes.
Yeah.
People don't realize how much they interact with human resources, whether it's now, whether it's in the past, just period. And so I would ask the three of you, have you ever participated in a training class?
A training class?
Learning and development, human resource function.
Just today.
Have you ever been in an interview with a recruiter?
Yes.
Human resource function. Have you ever been called to the office and told something that you may or may not have been doing right?
Yeah.
Function of human resources. And that's typically the thing people remember is that time I got in trouble. But you don't remember the recruiter that called you, the person who extended your offer, the training that you participated in, the classes that you were required to take, the person who helped you negotiate your salary. We do all those things. And so while it might be coaching, I don't ever want to limit it to that because we provide a lot of guidance. A lot of guidance, and it could be in any one of those areas, and it could be in other places as well. So people sleep on HR, and they're like, "Ugh, HR."
Right.
Like,
Yeah, I'm in trouble.
y'all fire people.
Right. And
No.
So to help me understand,
Okay.
to whom do you all deliver your services?
You want to start, or you want me to go?
I'll start. We deliver our services to both the individual as well as the corporation, right? And so when you think about all things that Nneka just mentioned as it relates to individuals, right? We help you through that coaching process. We help you negotiate your salary. We help you work through the skills that I currently have, and are they best suited for this role? So we really take you through the full process from A to Z. We also assist organizations. And so let's think of an organization that might say, hey, I have this associate that I really want to pour into, that I want to develop. I need some executive coaching for said individual. So we might come in and we'll do some executive coaching around that. We might come in and simply do a lay of the land around training and development. So as Nneka mentioned, there are always opportunities for training and development for associates. Instead of the company doing it, they might call a consultant in and say, hey, can you do this for us? And so whether it's a startup organization, whether it's a larger organization, they need HR. No matter how you look at it, no matter how you shake it out, this is what HR does. Nneka, I'll let you take it from here.
I think I pretty much covered it.
Yeah.
But I just want to make sure I don't only exist to coach. I want y'all to know I'm here for guidance, consulting, coaching, right? So it's not limited. It's not limited. And I really think people don't understand the full function. And when you hear about people getting fired, that's when it's like, oh, they had to go see HR. No, you saw me way before that. And if I'm coming to you now because you're being separated, I want you to think about all the things you did that you could have called me for before, and I could have helped you get out of that.
Think about the attorneys who have retainer fees, right?
Retainer, okay.
HR, when y'all need us, hey, there's this retainer, right? And you're calling saying, hey, I need your guidance for this, or I need it for that. And so we are, again, when you need us for, it could be coaching, it could just be advice, it could be, hey, I had a conversation with my leader today, and I don't know what to think or how to feel. Help me through that. And that's, we do that as well.
Do you have an optimum? I'm sorry, Frank.
No. Go ahead.
Do you have an optimum business size that you work with when you are consulting with court? Because let me tell you where the root of that question is. I may say, hey, listen, man, my business isn't big enough for human resources. I don't need that stuff yet. But I may say that, but I don't know when it is big enough, or how many employees do I need to have? Is it just 2? Is it 4? What are these things that folks need to consider when, we say, okay, this is optimal time for me to get some consulting or training in?
So I think that goes back to what I was saying a minute ago, the misconception that you don't need us. And so if it's just 2 people, it could be just 2 people, but what do you want to do next? Somebody told me just this morning, I think, you're not thinking about hiring when you have the money. You are thinking about right now I need to hire because I'm planning to do X. And so you might want to bring us in. Do you need help writing job descriptions? Do you need help determining, okay, what do you want your culture to be, right? If it's just the two of you and you need a third person, do you need us to help you interview, craft that out? So it's people wait until, okay, I've got 10 people here. I don't know what to do. Now I need some help. No, you needed help 7 people ago, right? And even if you don't think you need it today and there's 2 people or it's just you, get with somebody like us. No, get with us. I'm sorry, let me change that. Get with us so we can talk about it. And when you tell me what the plan is for your company, we take on your 2 people because we want to be able to grow and scale with you. Because I don't want to have to come in and change what you've been doing because you made a misstep 6 people ago, right? So you talk to somebody like us when you are thinking about hiring future state. Don't talk to us when you're already in it. We'll talk to you then too, but that's what I'm talking about, like that misunderstanding and that misconception that people don't need HR. And it's because you really don't have the wherewithal, the capture to understand all the things we do and all the things we touch.
Right.
So I hope that helps a little.
No, absolutely. So I gotta let my partners talk because you created like 6 more questions.
Okay.
I got them. I got them ready. So you ready to talk tonight?
So because this is the podcast for Black people, let's focus on the negative, right? So I need you to humor us, right? Humor us with a scenario in which you guys, the person, what do you call them that consults you, client? Would they be considered client?
Yes.
So like we had a client where they had a situation where they were just unfathomable, like they you couldn't even work with them. They weren't getting it. They didn't have a case, so to speak, but they just kept kind of like poking the bear. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you got one, Latisha. I mean, I 40 years of experience.
Broke out laughing.
40 years of experience, y'all have to have come through some characters like that, where something just hit your door and you're like, yeah, I can't help you with this.
You know, I'm laughing because Nneka had a client that so how I'm gonna answer that question.
She didn't say they had a client. She said Nneka
Nneka
had a client.
Nneka had a client.
That's the Craigwell half of the consultant firm, y'all.
Right.
Go ahead.
You know, how I'm gonna first answer that question is when we have certain clients, we determine based on those clients, is this something that we really want to do, right? And if it is not something that we really have the wherewithal or niche to do, we then consult with someone else that's on our team to assist us through that process. And so one example that I'll give you is working with a leader during one particular situation where they really wanted to talk through, I'll say discipline, right? Coach me through how to discipline this particular team member. Mm-hmm. And in going through that process, we walk through the do's and the don'ts. And said leader really, I'll use the word strong arm. Mm-hmm. You can't handle associates in this manner all the time. And I think a lot of people think we live in a state where I can just terminate you at will, no problem, no reason. And while, yes, you can, you still want to ensure that you don't violate any state or federal laws, right? And so I'm dealing with a particular client who wants to do his own thing, and you have to reel them in to explain why it is that you can't just sit here and terminate somebody, right? Let's go through the process. Help me understand why you want to terminate said employee. Help me understand what training you've taken this employee through. Help me understand, have they signed off on all agreements, right? Let's talk through the process. And so when dealing with that, we realize, is this something that we really want to add in our scope of work? Or do we want to do something more high level and then have another consultant in that's on our team and working with those difficult or challenging, more so cases? So I'll give that. Nneka might have something else related to a resume that, she had been working through.
Yeah, so we really could write a book about the things.
She said working through.
Yeah. So again, when you don't understand what you are asking me to do, you have to listen. And so when I'm telling you based on my experience, based on what I see, based on what I know, I'm not telling you what I think, I'm telling you what I know. We need to do X, Y, and Z. And from a client perspective, and you guys know me, I'm very nice, right? I'm very pleasant. But
no, message.
Yeah, look at him.
I'm gonna have to talk to Frank after this. So, but when it comes to the business of the day, let's handle the business of the day. Right. And so I did. I had a client that Latisha referenced, and it was visions of grandeur, but you don't have the history, the makeup, anything to back this up. So let me tell you what we can do, because we are actually very limited. Now, I could sell you a dream. Yeah. But I'm not going to do that. And so when it comes to the type of work that we do, you came to us for a reason, right? You came to us for a reason. You came to us for the expertise. So just take a minute and listen to what I'm saying. And when people do that, I think when you listen, you ultimately fall in line. I don't have another way to say that, because that's why you came to me. And so let me tell you, if we do this and you can't explain yourself, you're going to have a problem. If we do this and we just keep it 100, here's your story, here's the narrative, then it works, right? So I think we have different styles, obviously, Latisha and I, when it comes to how we might deal with people and corporations. And I think I have a little bit more patience, which is why Latisha said, Nneka had a client, because it was like, I'm not touching that.
Oh, word.
And it just, I think we have different gifts, and they work really well for what we do. I work with the youth a lot, doing youth diversion programs. And it's okay, tighten up, right? Like, you have a chance to change your whole trajectory. So what you're not going to do is sit in here and look at me crazy. This is what we're going to do. Why? Because we are talking about the business of the day. We can laugh and kiki later, but I was brought here for a reason. Let's make sure you get that. Because what I don't want you to do is get out in the streets and say, she didn't help me. Right. That's not why I'm here. So I think, Frank, to answer your original question, like, we could go on and on about people that are difficult to deal with. And I think at the end of the day, here's the bottom line. And you can either listen, or you can talk, or you can decide that you want to do it your way. But remember, your way is what sent you my way. So,
and I'll also, say to that is,
I like that, yeah.
Our goal is to arm you with all things in order for you to be successful, right? We're going to tell you things and educate you on things because it's lived experience. We know what we are talking about. Now it's up to you to get out there and deliver based on what we have now provided you, right? The information that we've given you with and armed you with. And a lot of people expect that, all right, I want you to do my bio and put it together, or put this document together, and it's blown up, right? Yep, we can do that, but will you be able to talk to it? And then you're saying, well, they gave me this and promised that I'm gonna get this job. No. We informed you on what, based on our expertise, it should state, right? What it should say. And so that's some of the things that we run into as well.
And so you mentioned training class earlier. Everybody sit up and pretend like they're in the training class. Like, seriously, get in position. All right. So what's the company culture? Is it strict like this? Is it relaxed like you're working at Google? What is, I guess, even in nowadays when you're working human resources, are you considering, when you're consulting with companies, their company culture and how they may want to adjust to the current, I want to say, the job market? Like, I'll give an example from my profession. Coming out of the pandemic, my profession generally tries to hire and does hire a lot of people in their 20s. They like to relax. They like to work from home, especially now. And it's almost like the job market now has to tap dance to be attractive for they want to hire. Are you all finding that, like, telling people, hey, you might want to adjust your culture altogether for who you want to hire?
Go for it.
Okay. So culture is very personal, very individualized, regardless of the size of your organization. And my stance on that would be, who am I to come in and change that, right? Because this is what you built it this way for a reason. But what I am prepared to do is to tell you, okay, here's where you might want to make some adjustments. And I'll use the example of an opposite culture where a lot of people are being called back into the workforce. Okay, so I've been at home for 2 years. I've been wearing yoga pants and t-shirts for 2 years. Why do I now need to drive downtown to work? You've seen that it works. And so people are now, whether you want to or not, you're being forced to make those shifts. But we don't come in to try to change your culture. We might ask you to make adjustments. There may be some things that you need to do differently to get the talent you want. But I think kind of the way that you phrase that is, well, I'm going to come in and tell you your culture needs to be different and you need to hire people in their 40s. Not if that's not what your culture dictates. So I want to make sure I'm answering the question correctly.
No, you are. You actually are. And even make it go in even more. And it's like, I read this really interesting article. It came out maybe 2 or 3 days ago. Y'all can look it up. It's called Lunchflation. And they're talking about because of inflation and just naturally, and because of the current state of the economy, it is costing people now to go back to work. So now it's imperative for employers to have a value add to hiring people. Why? Okay, now why do I want to be here then? Especially if I gotta, pack a lunch, buy lunch, spend gas, and all of those things are higher now than they were 2 years ago. So that's kind of where that kind of question came from. Helping people with that value add, so to speak.
I mean, let's face it. I think, just depending on the organization, a lot of folks are calling, a lot of your companies are calling people back in because they have these big, pretty buildings that they have to pay for, right?
Yeah.
And so this is why they're like, hey, we need for you all to come back into the office.
Georgia Power ain't cheap.
Right. And so that is one of the prime reasons, because they have real estate and they're still paying on it.
Facts.
So definitely one of the prime reasons that they're asking people or requiring people to come back into the office.
I saw, Elon Musk announced today, or they didn't announce, but he announced to his employees they calling the Tesla folks back into work. He said remote employees are pretending to work. So he called them, and so it is part of that too. But then when they start to want to watch, you get the, all right, everybody turn your cameras on, like we in
I
five.
know how that was.
I'm like, come on. Son.
I hated that. I could have should have called y'all. So when they had to make us turn on it, but they knew we wasn't doing it right. The teachers and educators is out here moving dirty. We supposed to be at home. We are aisle 6 at Home Depot. Like,
So let me ask you a question then. And this is rhetorical. You don't really have to answer. So then why we mad? Why are you mad when you got to either turn your camera on or you got to go back? Right? Because you knew you weren't doing right.
You weren't doing.
Yeah. Well,
you don't have to answer that. I'm just saying.
Well, even if you are doing right, Americans, Western culture, we hate the police.
We hate
So you hate to be
micromanaged.
Yeah.
That's
I mean, and that was just one example, but that might be like 18% of the people that were doing dirty. Most people didn't want to turn on the camera because
they weren't dressed.
I went,
Right.
I'm home. Even if
home.
And even if bonnet on,
and even if I am doing, even when I am doing right, I'm offended at the request. It's like, you watching me?
See me?
You my daddy?
I want to see me.
Don't let it be a white man saying it either.
I ain't even brush my teeth.
You ain't right.
I ain't even brush my teeth today. Which one?
That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, what we mad about?
Yeah.
You're not
We're
doing
really mad about something. We're
No,
always
I
mad
know,
about
I know.
something.
But I'm mad.
I
But
said
I'm
what,
just saying, so what I'm saying is, I'm not gonna come in here and tell you to change your culture. Right. This is what you want, right? Now the people over here are gonna be pissed because you said turn your camera on. People are gonna be upset because now I want you in the office 2 days a week. So just kind of bringing you back to that. What we mad for? What we mad about?
What we mad about?
My department is tripping because they want them in 4 days a week. They're like, yo, for real? for work? Y'all, what y'all doing?
And then guess
it
what?
worked because we work right next to another department that's 3 days a week. So it's like, they're like, see you Monday. Nope, Tuesday.
With your 4-day ass.
Right. but that's real life. The building that we
is.
work in all last month, they offered free food every day. So we have snacks and blah blah blah. Everything.
But that's a value add I was talking about.
No, I know. No, I knew exactly what you meant. I don't require that. Like that is not an incentive for me to come in, right? Because you got the food truck outside. I'm good. There's a food truck in my neighborhood, and I will drive right down the street. So culture and the value adds, what are, really make it worth my while. Give me some more money, pay my internet bill,
That part.
right? Because now I'm not mad. Now I'm like, okay, I got you those 4 days, right? But now you mad because you got to go in 4 days, and 2 years ago you had to go in every day.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had such horrible human resources and employees in the past. That's why I got so many questions. They think I'm a slave on a job. Yes, master, turn your camera on.
Oh, so you asking us all the things that you've experienced, and you want to know how you.
Wait, are you experiencing them or are you doing them?
No. My employer now is good to go. Real stuff.
Oh, okay.
Real talk. But in the past, I've had some horrible employers, human resources. Like I had one employer. I said, there's what you're supposed to do, and then there's what they do, and there is a major spread between the two. I have had employers who literally try to find the ways that they could break the rules like enough Like, and that's bad, but that's bad. And I'm talking about true human resources, laws that apply to human resources, things like that. And so that's why a lot of these things are so, when you talked about saying, okay, not everybody, you can fire people, but you still have to make sure you don't violate it. And I think employers, especially of businesses that don't have consultants,
right,
who don't subscribe to having in-house resources or consult with people, they make these horrible decisions. They don't know what could be the possible effects of them, and oftentimes the difference between them getting away with and not getting away with is the person not being able to afford the legal fees to go through the process.
Yeah,
that's the only difference a lot of times.
it is.
And that's what gives us, as a profession, sometimes a really bad reputation. Because when that comes across my desk, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna need you to try again.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't allow it, and I never have. Right. But it also depends on the human resource function in that place. So if they've been getting away with it, why am I going to change my stripes? And so going back to culture, who am I to come in here to tell you not to do that because you haven't been sued yet? But when you have to pay that windfall, your attitude changes. So that's why we get a bad reputation, because people allow that, and then you don't have somebody
Right.
like a Nneka or a Latisha telling you, nah,
Yep.
get that trash out of here, right? You don't have that, and that's where we come in, right? Because we're strong, we recognize the laws, and we recognize, like, come on, like, do the right thing by people, because you will find that when you do that, they work harder for you, right? Without you even asking. But when people start quitting and you feel like, I ain't turning on my camera, there's a reason for that. And I get it, right? We're in our yoga pants t-shirts. We haven't brushed our teeth. I got that. But aside from those things, like, you will do what you need to do because you've been treated well. And when you're not treated well, right, your whole company is an HR issue. And that's where we come in.
I'm gonna let them ask a question. I got another whole nother dope question. I got a whole nother dope question.
Go ahead, Ash.
So I had a quick question before. I know you have one as well. The value add-ons we mentioned, and after COVID, a lot of people don't want to go in, and you want to add the value to that. So what do you think some of the key components are to ask or negotiate your contract now? Because now I got to go in, and I need more money because now I'm losing money, as you said, going in every single day. So what do you believe some of the key components are to get that route, to get that extra money in coins?
And I want to make sure that I answer your question. Are you referring to an employee a new employee starting, or one that already works for this particular company?
Actually, that's both, please.
Okay, yes.
Answer both.
So for that individual that currently works, you can negotiate. I mean, you already work there. I can't come back and then say, hey,
signed your contract.
In order for me to come in, then you need to pay me more. If they hired you, let's call it $100K a year. Yeah, and now I need for you to come back into the office. You still get paid $100K a year. That doesn't change. So let's talk about the individual that you're interviewing, right? We're going to extend an offer to you. And as a result of that, the requirement is that you work 4 days a week. It's in office. It typically will say that. And so if you notice these days, when you go and look, let's say LinkedIn or online, the job description will clearly say remote. If it doesn't, then you're required to be in the office. That's the difference. We didn't used to do that pre-COVID like that.
Right.
So now if I'm applying for a role and I'm required to be in the job, you can try to negotiate. I'm huge on negotiating. Like, that is just one thing that I am huge on. But you can try to negotiate based on you coming into the office, but chances are that's not what's going to get you more money. You can negotiate based on my level of experience, right? What I'm going to bring to the table, and just simply trying to negotiate. Two things that I wouldn't necessarily say negotiate and you're going to be successful. Benefits. Well, I don't need your benefits. Can you pay me more?
Yeah.
Already built in, so no need to even mention that. They're not going to give you more money for that reason. And then now that I have to drive into the office, again, you can attempt to negotiate. You might not, but if you're an associate already, you gonna make that $100K. If you are now look for a role that's remote.
But that's my gripe. Remote mean remote, man. I mean,
somebody flipped it on me one time recently in a conversation. They said, an executive, a corporate executive, she said, sometimes folks have to be careful with the remote, because if you tell them that you can be effective remotely, then you need to be just that, effective remotely. So if you tell them, well, I don't need to, because if you say, well, I needed to travel, if you used to travel a lot to do presentations and meetings, you say, well, I'm effective remotely. Well, why do you need to go to San Francisco now? You're effective remotely.
You're referring to that individual who enjoys traveling, right? That's a perk of the job. And I want to travel when it suits me versus now you're in a remote environment. There's no need for, gotcha. I mean, it's, again, terms of your employment. Make sure that when they are extending an offer or when you ask all of those questions during the interview process, right? I'm open to travel, but I still want to be home.
Right.
So making sure that you know that I prefer a remote role. And you can outline what that looks like for you. Whether you're going to get it or not, we don't know that.
Right.
But you can absolutely give them your wish list.
And I want to add something too. Tish mentioned, negotiating. And if you're already there, typically you cannot ask for more money. But you also can. And then you just need to be prepared for the no, right?
Yeah.
Because then you need to, and I've told a bunch of people this, when you ask for the money, what is it coming with? Like, what else are you going to do? If you're asking for $2,000, what are people getting for that additional $2,000? So I think you can ask, but I think you just need to be prepared for the no. But the other piece is, okay, so I'm asking you to come back. How often am I asking you to come back? Okay, Jay said they're talking about 4 days. Okay, well, can we maybe talk about 3? Because you can negotiate that if it's a negotiable factor, right? If your whole team is coming in 3 days, be prepared to respond to why the whole team can do it for 3 days. It might not be a lot, but when you're talking about the value add, what Jay values is different than what you value, right? What I value is different than what Frank values. And so I'm going in after this, but not because you want it, not because we're spoiled, not because we got used to it, but really, what am I getting in return for you not coming in that extra day when I'm turning these lights on, right? What am I getting? And then, like the person said to you about effectiveness. Oh, okay, so you're real effective at the house, but you don't have to pay for gas if I let you work from home. Maybe I'll pay for your internet. Maybe I've been paying for your phone. How about I cut those things off and reduce your pay by $10,000? So you do have to be really, really careful about your refusal to do certain things, because it's well within my right to give you money and take money away. And so I always like to point that out too. Like, people were like, whew, I got 2 extra hours. Oh, do you now? Right? Because you're not commuting. So then my expectation is that you be logged on longer.
8 o'clock.
So be careful about what you brag about and what you put out in the atmosphere as to how effective you are at the house. And then when you go to negotiate, what are you giving me? I know you want value, but that's just what people are thinking when they're sitting across from you.
It's an exchange.
It's an exchange. Like, you're not gonna sit here and ask me for a bunch of stuff and not be willing to travel more, not be willing to come in. Like, so I think you can ask for the money, but I think you need to be prepared for the no, especially as a current employee. But it doesn't mean you can't ask. But then what am I getting for this extra $5K you want when you're not going to pay for gas if I let you continue to work from home? But if you come in, okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about expenses. When was the last time you got an increase? What's the cost of living? Blah, blah, blah. Go with data. And I tell people that all the time. Go with data. Don't go with emotion. Never go with emotion.
That's a good point.
I'm all about that, yeah.
In your 20 years, like something like sexual harassment, right? Like that, I'm pretty sure that comes up in.
Yes.
Has it gotten worse or, better or worse?
Me too.
I can't.
Right. I'm probably, I didn't want to answer that myself. But I can only imagine after the Me Too movement, it's gotten crazy. But
it still exists for sure.
Yeah.
Now that we are home, you don't necessarily see it as much. People are not as vocal about it. When it does come up more, and I'm going to speak from when I see it, when it comes up more is when we've just terminated an associate and they feel like you've just wronged me for terminating. And now you bring up the sexual harassment, right? Not in all cases, but I'm speaking for what I have seen more so than not is I am no longer an employee there. Now let me give you a whole list of reasons as to why I think my leader terminated me. And so that is what I've seen more so than not, especially during COVID.
And can I add to that? So I completely agree with that. But the one thing, and we saw this firsthand because of what we do, so where I didn't really see an increase in sexual harassment, it was the mental health piece. It was the domestic violence piece. It was people saying, hey, you got to let me come in the building because I'm not safe at home.
Absolutely.
And so the mental health things and the things that people are talking about now really showed themselves during COVID. So I wouldn't sit here and say I've heard a lot more about harassment. Why? Because I'm either not on video, right? I'm not seeing you, or if someone was being accused prior to COVID, I can breathe a sigh of relief because I don't have to go and interact with that person. But then when we sent people home, it was all the home life stuff that came up. So when you're thinking about, and I don't want to go off on a tangent, but like employee assistance programs at EAP,
go.
those things have increased because people, we put them in a position where they were abusing their kids because they were being abused. You left me in here with my kids can't go to school. Who am I supposed to take this stress out on? And those are the types of things that we've seen increase exponentially, and that's real. So when people, mental health is real, it is real, right? And when we shut down for a couple years, you really saw it. And I just never thought I would see where people were begging, please
come back in.
Please let me come back in.
Right.
Because I don't have anywhere to go.
Right.
So I haven't seen harassment. And,
No.
and maybe now harassment has taken a back seat to the other things.
Yeah.
So that I have seen that.
You said something that was like completely interesting just now. Now I have a follow-up question for the person that doesn't want to come into work because, let's say, a scenario with the school shootings.
Yeah.
You have a lot of educators that are kind of second guessing, going to the
field.
building now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I have two coworkers that might be changing career paths soon because it's just like it's one of those things that can happen wherever.
Yeah.
But the schoolhouse has always been like a safe haven.
Right.
And it's no longer the case.
Right.
So you don't want to say, well, that can't happen to us.
Mm-hmm.
That's our biggest thing, man, especially
Right.
Black people. You know what I'm saying? Because it hasn't happened yet.
Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? We
Absolutely.
like we do that. We don't do that. That's not that's not Black people shit. But then until it's too late.
Right.
So what about a person who is denied that opportunity to work from home, like the person that says I'd rather work remotely because I feel safer at home than school, but they're denied now? Does that person have a legitimate gripe?
So what I'll say is, you're saying if they were denied an opportunity to work from home
Yeah,
because
if-
they want to care for their children,
Yeah, because
more.
right now that's not an option.
Right.
Remote.
We're out of
work,
fear. They're out of
in
fear.
our field, it's not an option. But now, out of fear, like
Right.
you said, saying
Yeah.
the same person that says that they feel safer at school than at home because they're going through a lot there, and just in reverse. I'm just
Right.
so.
So let me be really honest with you. In terms of, I'm going to answer that twofold. So let's say you have a parent that is now fearful of sending their child to school, and as a result, I want to homeschool, which means I need my job to be flexible and allowing me to work from home. Pre-COVID, during COVID, and even now, we don't pay you still to watch your children, and so the expectation is still that you perform your job, right? And knowing that you are able to have sufficient childcare while you're doing that. And so while we want to be very sensitive to what's going on, we will be very sensitive to that, but we still expect you to perform your job, right? But then for that individual that says, I'm fearful of now coming in because of everything that's happening, we're going to say, hey, we have EAP services. Let's talk about this. And I encourage leaders all the time, have open dialogue with your folks. Find out where their headspace is. Talk to them to understand how were they impacted, right? If they were truly impacted, or if it's taking a toll, because I have children myself. And I'm going to give you an example, and I'm sorry I'm going off outside of your question, but today is Wednesday. Friday of last week, I had someone call me, a director to be exact. And they said to me, hey, Latisha, I need for you to read this email. And we were online. And in that moment when she pulled it up, it was regarding the school shooting. And I admit, I broke down. And I said to her, I said, I'm sorry. Like, you can't expect to pull up an email on Teams, because she was afraid to forward it because she didn't know where it would go.
Right.
So she had me read it, and I wasn't it was just, I was blindsided. I wasn't expecting it, and I broke down.
Yeah.
I said, I have a 5 and a 7-year-old.
Facts.
But her response to me was, well, this leader sends this email to a ton of people in the company and said, hey, I'm going to cancel this meeting, and I hope that the company recognizes everything that's just happened in the school. And he kind of goes off on a tangent. As a result of that, I want to write him up. What? I'm confused, right? And I had to pause because instead of you saying, let me be sensitive to what's happening,
Right.
and let me check on this man's mental,
Right.
instead it's, I want to write him up because this email should not have been sent to everybody in this email chain. So again, I go back to, we have to be sensitive to people's needs. And I hate to say it, but sometimes we judge what's going on without fully asking enough questions to better understand why a person is where they are. So whether you're in corporate America, whether you're out on the street, ask questions.
Right.
Find out why I feel the way that I feel. And so I know, I answered your question in a roundabout way, but it was just, I had to give you that example because so many times we miss the mark there.
Both have mentioned EAP. Can you both explain for those who may not know what EAP is?
Eap is employee assistance programs. So when you think about employees that might be going through something, they provide counseling service. And so most companies will say, hey, you get 2 or 3 free sessions. EAP is who facilitates that for you. And so it's services that they provide for you. And they offer so many various different services aside from that.
Yeah, it's not always when there is a tragedy. It's hey, I have some weight loss goals. Hey, I want to do X. They'll set things up like that for you. I know at one point our EAP.
I know, right? Weight loss goals.
Jay got excited over there.
Hey, boss.
Well, if you have EAP, but no, they had just as an example, when people were at home during like the height of COVID with their kids, they would set up stuff like coloring contests for you and your kid because they knew the kids were at home. So it's not always. It's definitely. Like they come through when you have a grief situation.
I ain't know that.
What, Dion?
Not a weight loss thing. He's still stuck on that.
He's still on
the color.
He on the color now. He done moved
you
past
still on
He wants to color with Charlie. He wants to color.
I have given several examples, but yeah. So just call and find out what they have because people underestimate it and they have a tendency to believe, okay, like just said, if you're going through something, they can help you, but they can help you when you're not going through something. They can help you with the preventive stuff. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. They have life kits where they'll send you, self-help books and stress balls, right? If you
monies and balls.
So do you go through HR for that?
Typically, if you have, so it depends on the size of your company and what they have going on. They might have a website. The HR person should be able to tell you how to get to it, but we're not the gatekeeper for that.
Gotcha.
Yeah. 1-800-EAP, whatever it is, but we're not the gatekeeper.
Tiff got like, they got meditation Wednesdays or something like that.
Wellness they offered me.
Yeah.
So you said something I want to totally make sure we touch on before we get out of here. We talked a lot about some of the things that you all help mitigate. On the developmental side, what are some really valuable developmental trainings that you all offer or need to make sure that folks are aware of? Because one of the greatest things that helps an employee experience is training. Training, and you know this, but training and development, developing your workforce. Like you said, going back to developing your associates, developing your executives. Let's talk about some of and you name them or however you best feel like to inform us. The development that you think is key or that you offer or that you think folks need to be aware of that will really help their businesses thrive, either from the small business with 1 or 2 employees all the way up to the major corporations.
Want to start?
Okay, so I'll start. So I think there's a couple things if you are in leadership, management 101, how to talk to people. Tish mentioned it earlier. The empathy piece, the emotional intelligence piece, like those are the types of trainings we'll come in and do. Succession. If you have a larger organization and you're like, okay, I want to do the next thing, but I need the person coming behind me. We help you figure that out. From an individual perspective, what do people think about when they hear your name? What do they think about when you walk in the room? Right? So we help people with branding because you need to understand how you're perceived. You might feel like you should be in a particular spot. But then when I ask Frank, like, hey, Frank, tell me what you think about Jay. And then he started blinking.
Blink twice if you engage.
Right. Right. 3 times if you're guilty. So it's branding, it's management 101, it's that professional etiquette piece, it's how to conduct yourself. It's, okay, if you want to advance, let's talk about what that looks like and come up with a plan for you. So, I mean, there's any number of things, but those are the ones I wanted to start with. I know I'm missing a bunch, but those are the ones I wanted to start with.
The other thing, Nneka hit on them and again, a bunch of other ones, but the other thing that we do is help you assess your employees. So that's strength finders, right? Helping you determine what qualities, what values, how do you show up in an organization? Because sometimes you don't know. So we help you evaluate and kind of do a self-awareness for yourself.
That's major.
The other thing is a lot of people still social media, right? As you would think.
It's my page. I'm gonna put on here what I want to put on
right.
here.
Everybody knows social media etiquette. You can go from the 18-year-old to the 45-year-old. And the answer is no. You'd be amazed. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give y'all this nugget for free. But the rest of the stuff we going to charge you for.
Drop it.
I'm going to give you this nugget. When somebody is applying and I am interviewing you, the first thing I'm going to do is go to your social media page.
Yeah.
Right, wrong,
You
or
don't
indifferent.
write. I will search you. I will Google you. And you best believe when something pulls up that doesn't sit well with my spirit, then that is something.
Whatever that spirit may be.
Right, whatever that is,
That's why.
then that is something that, might determine if we move forward with you or not. And so, like, truly, I'm joking, but in all seriousness, you all think, a lot of people think, well, my page is locked. Ain't nobody get on my page. Some companies ask for your password.
Yeah.
Honestly, logging in or taking your password off. Yes, sir, and yes, ma'am, they do. And so you can say no, right? But what does that mean?
What you had them.
And so keep that in mind. Social media, people post things on it. Be very mindful to keep your social media clean.
And let me just real quick, because this is something, and this will be my freebie. Okay, then after this, we got to talk about price structure. But don't let it be that I know somebody you know. People talk about, and we're in this market, we're in the great resignation. You can leave. The market is ripe. You can go wherever you want to, but don't burn any bridges.
Oh, yeah.
I am asking you, don't burn any bridges. Because the moment you do that, guess what? I can pick up the phone.
Tell them what you mean by don't burn bridges.
Yeah.
Tell them what you mean.
Give them notice. Don't leave. Don't cuss people out on your way out, right?
Yeah.
Don't tell them to kiss your whole black, whatever. Don't do that, right? Keep it clean.
Give them notice.
Right.
That's a big one.
Give them notice, right? Give them notice. But then even when you do and you work out your notice, don't walk with your middle fingers in the air and all that. Don't do that. Like, keep it clean. And let me tell you why. Because let's just pretend that I know the person that you flipped off when you walk down the hallway, or that you walk down the hall. All y'all can blah. And I say, hey, so tell me what you think about Ashley. Don't say anything if she's good to go. Okay, they don't say anything. It's code. Nobody ever has to know that we had that conversation, but you won't get this job.
Right.
I had
You won't come in my place of
I
business.
had to file an EEOC complaint one time. And I had an EEOC officer tell me, EEOC officer, she said, everything's good, everything's in line. She said, there's only one problem.
What is EOC?
EEOC?
EEOC.
Equal Employment Opportunity Commission.
Thank you.
So I had to file a complaint one time.
Only folks who follow them know what it is.
Right.
Right. And if you don't know, good for you. Okay, carry on.
And the EEOC officer says, everything's good, everything's in line. She said, there's only one problem. She said, this is off the record, but this is real. She said, Atlanta, as big as it is, it's a small town.
It is. Absolutely.
I concur.
Absolutely.
She said, it's a small town. She said, in this complaint, it might ring out loud. Not that you're wrong, because I'm telling you, you're not wrong. But it's a small town.
Yes, indeed.
And that was when I was like, but it's not like she said it's a small town.
Forewarning.
And and she was right. I found out along the way. But not to make anybody afraid, because what God got for you, but you're right.
So when we talk about, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off, Jay.
I had a follow-up question. Of
No,
course.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Because my follow-up question is it's a change of subjects.
Well, it was something just small. Proper notice. Has anything changed after COVID? Is it still 2-week notice, or can I be out in 2 days?
So let me say this. I had
this
real talk. I had this conversation with somebody in the car today, and it was they accidentally put in an 8-day notice instead of a 10 business day, and I was like, yo, are we really going to hold them to the 2 days? I was like, stop it. The person has been here. They've been reliable. They told you they were leaving. So what you should really do is be familiar with what's written, because some companies require 1 week, right?
Okay,
2 weeks is traditional, but just kind of take a peek for it. Look at what other people are doing. But if you know a week is sufficient, you've been turning your work over, just be mindful. Best practice is 2 weeks. I'm going to leave it at that. Best practice is 2 weeks, but the job you're in may not require it. Some jobs require more. It just depends, right?
Yeah.
If you're a doctor and you run a hospital, I'm gonna need you to give me 60 days. I might need you to give me a year because you run the facility, right?
Yeah. Practical
be
is key.
responsible and be in tune with where you work.
That's what in logistics. If you give a 2 week notice, they tell you leave that same day.
Yeah.
So we know if you're quitting a job, I'm gonna tell you today because I'm leaving on Wednesday. I know I'm gonna be gone today.
And so here's the thing: people do that because they don't want you taking their stuff.
Right, exactly.
You know the routes. You know the blah blah blah. So for the 2 weeks you're here, you're taking information.
Exactly.
But as long as they pay you.
Yeah,
correct.
It's a non-issue.
She
Go ahead.
had a logistics clients call.
Go ahead.
You didn't hear me? Like, you know the routes. Y'all picked up on that. you know your way around the workforce.
Right. And
I do.
The key is making sure they pay you. But then
make sure they pay you.
Don't give 2 weeks and be like, I'm gonna give my notice on June 1st, but I'm gonna take vacation from the 2nd to the 14th. You just gave a day's notice. I mean, so those types of things. But nevertheless, we have
finagle it.
Oh, can I? Okay, this is my last freebie. Mm-hmm. Okay,
and then we got to talk about pay structure.
We ain't talking about pay structure.
My whole question is based around a freebie. So, but it's a good freebie.
Okay.
It's a good freebie. Word.
I'm not. Every company is different, but I want y'all to also be very mindful of when you leave, especially if your company pays for your benefits.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm gonna stop right there. Jay, what question did you have, sir?
Be mindful when you leave. Okay. I'm gonna remember.
Somebody's like,
well, there's some benefit laws because I got my little health insurance license about when it ends and all that other good stuff.
We're talking about benefits, but okay.
Well, that's kind of what I was just mentioning. So it depends on the company, right? So some companies have rules in place that when you leave, your benefits end immediately. Some companies have rules in place that when you leave, your benefits end at the end of the month.
Right.
But you need to know that, right? So that if you need to get that last dentist appointment, but it's not really. I'm going to say this loosely. It's not really laws about benefits. It's that company's policy about how they pay benefits. So it just kind of depends, right? It depends on your benefit situation with that organization. Just like Ash was saying, okay, I'm going to tell you to leave the same day. Okay, that's fine. But I told you I was leaving on the 27th.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to need you to pay me until the 27th.
Right.
Right? And then your benefits are either going to end on the 27th or they're going to end on the 30th. And it just depends on that organization.
Yeah.
So not necessarily legal, but policy.
Right.
Good point.
Not final question. My final question.
It's final freebie question.
I'll leave y'all alone. Just right here. Final freebie question. Can't guarantee I won't have a question after that. Branding. Let's talk about branding.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since the pandemic, there have been a number of startup businesses. Mm-hmm. And branding is important to growing your business. Mm-hmm. Branding is important to recruiting the right type of employee, recruiting the type of, if you're a retail, if you sell retail, if you wholesale, it's so important on every aspect of your business. Can you, please drop some branding nuggets, some key components, just some, you don't have to go into the value add, but tease them. Please tease them of what some major branding moments
for podcasts and all that good
stuff.
stuff.
A couple of things, and I'm going to keep it short, right? Log on to
That wasn't the question.
.russellcraigwell.com.
You ain't getting this freebie.
You can download one of our branding documents, and then we also have a document that is only $14.99. And so when I talk, www.russellcraigwell.com.
Drop that again.
Yes.
No, wait. Real stuff. $14.99 is cheap.
Correct.
For a document.
Correct.
That can help the future of your company.
Correct.
And it's a tax write-off.
Correct.
If you own
Absolutely.
a business.
Say that again.
And it's a tax write-off if you own a business. But seriously. Now I want you to answer the question.
So what I will say in terms of your question, honestly, Jay, when I think about branding, and what a lot of people miss is you think this logo, right? You think this signage that you have. But branding is, how do you show up? What do you want to be known for? And so when someone says to you, what is your brand, right? They're talking about you and how you want to show up and what you're known for. And so that's how I'm going to answer that.
And that's what I said.
I'm gonna come back to you on
when
that.
people hear your name, what do they think? When people hear Truth No Chaser, what do they think?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
That's branding.
Hold that thought. Because that's what I'm gonna find out right where I'm follow right where she is. Because the Crown Peach. It's rolling through me right now. We're gonna right here, and I want you to be honest. I'm challenging you to be 100% honest while we're recording.
Challenge.
How did TNC show up?
TNC has always shown up. Right. And so when you hear about Truth No Chase, I'm gonna need y'all to contact them. But no, y'all brand is everything, right? This is I've had the pleasure of being on before, and truly you all have continued to up level. You've continued to show up in the marketplace. You continue to highlight issues, important issues, and things that are happening in our society today. And so I appreciate y'all. Y'all brand is on point.
Okay. So
you
want to know how to
Nneka, let's ask Nneka.
Yeah, wait.
She's the first time guest, She's no.
Yeah.
This is her second time. She knows. You new to the show.
Real people with real ideas, y'all.
Oh, come
Yes,
on.
I like
real
that.
New tagline?
Can we use that?
New tagline?
That was
People
dope.
with real ideas.
Don't be charged. We'll pay you $14.99 for that.
Tip Cash Ever.
Okay, so for me, it might be a little different. I am a first timer. Thank y'all for having me.
Of course.
But I think different from Latisha, I know y'all. I love y'all.
Yeah.
I admire y'all. Y'all don't have no idea how excited I am to be here talking to y'all about my craft. Y'all have a producer. She knows what I bring, right? She does, because we talked about it, and I hope that in some way I've been helpful to her. But really just watching y'all grow, watching the trajectory, watching this beast right here on my right. Like seriously, the chemistry, how y'all come together, what y'all put together, and the intention that y'all come with when you have your guests, I love it. And I owe Jay an apology. I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story and then I'm gonna stop talking. Okay. So
you owe me 2 apologies. I'll tell you why in a second.
Wait a minute, I only want one. Okay.
It's 2.
So I have been wanting to come on the show so we could talk about Russell Craigwell. This is my first time.
I still want to meet Russell.
Stepping out, trying to do something. This is way out of my comfort zone.
Right.
I'm not a social media person, and I think anybody who knows me knows that. Right? You know this. Okay, let's move on.
Recycle that picture on her
But
birthday.
that's when I changed my post on my birthday. So I was excited. I reached out like, hey, can we be on the show? We want to talk about what we got going on. And I saw Jay, like, completely separate from this, not in the studio, and he was working on the stuff, right? He was like working on, I guess, y'all's new flyer. He should have had a privacy screen. Because I walked past and I was like, when am I gonna be on the show? And I was like, why are you looking over people's shoulders, looking at their computer and stuff?
Yeah.
And I was like,
I remember that moment. She straight ran up on me.
I did. I was like, that was rude as hell.
HR?
I was like,
But
I guess she'll
care.
be on.
I didn't care because I wanted to be on the show. And I was like, oh, he's working on it. And I was like, the next time I see him, I'm going to apologize for that. But you need a privacy screen, brother. Get it.
I felt like Martin. So what do you do? Like, what's your thing? What do you do? You owe me 2 apologies because she's the director. I'm the producer.
Oh, my bad.
Oh,
my bad. Well, I apologize. I have the titles. I have the titles messed
I'm
up.
just kidding.
I just wanted to
really.
say that I think there's.
You just have to read.
Use your dials.
Director.
you know what?
But the point is,
Branding.
there's at least one person in this room that I know believes in our craft and what we do, and they've been helped. But
yes,
excited to be
very
here.
highly of you guys.
I love what y'all do. So
And you've gained a new client from me. I'll let you soon.
Yes, please do.
Thank you.
And that $14.99 document. Real stuff. No, because that's real.
Get it
honestly,
out there.
People, I can't. I wish we would have actually attacked this a little bit earlier, but the importance of branding and knowing how to properly do it beyond social media, y'all.
Yeah.
So that's what
It's
I'm saying. You
important.
added a new client with Truth No Chaser. Me being the marketing director and all. We're trying to brand outside and past. Social media. So I will pay the $14.99, y'all. You ain't got to cash out me the money back. I'll pay the $14.99 out of my pockets.
No, Truth No Chaser will pay it for it right off.
Honestly, though, we wanted you, get better at this, and I really appreciate you guys dropping these free nuggets.
Yeah.
Free.
And if y'all need, again, if you need us on retainer or anything of that nature, and you need HR support, please don't hesitate to.
And what's that website?
The website is www.russellcraigwell.com.
Thank you.
And then all social media platforms, it's Russell Craigwell.
So to make sure we drive this home, you do provide retainer human resources services.
Yes.
We
So
do.
that's very key.
We provide provide a retainer and memberships.
Okay.
So
Memberships.
let's say you don't need us for full coaching, right? You have this portal where you have access to so many different trainings, coaching sessions, right? You get all of that via the membership. So check us out.
Do I need to spell Russell Craigwell? Because I know
Spell
that
it
can be
out.
a challenge.
Spell it out,
2
girl.
S's, 2 L's.
She wants to make sure that y'all get this down correct.
Right. It is 2 S's and 2 L's, but it's that Craigwell that gets people. So it's RUSSELCRAIGWELL. Y'all got it?
I blame your profession, Craig.
It's
Frank.
that Craigwell. it's that Craigwell that messes you up.
Frank, I blame your profession.
Right. You know, well,
Not the Russell, but the Craigwell.
Yes.
Craigwell
Yes.
messes you
As
up.
many Craigs as black folk.
the
know.
compound.
So I don't want
Right.
y'all trying to find us. I don't want your viewers trying to find us, your listeners, and they can't find us because they don't have
Right.
enough letters. So I just want to.
Right.
Spell that out.
That's real talk. It happens all the time.
Yes.
We appreciate that. Are there any final last gems,
Things you
jewels
want to make sure
drop,
people
you know?
understand before they tune out. Things
If you-
you want to
yeah.
make sure
If you ain't
they don't
take
know
away-
anything
if you ain't
else.
take away
They know
nothing
this.
else from this show. What is
You know,
it?
honestly, if you are uncertain, book a discovery call with us. Discovery calls are free, and that is an opportunity for us to talk and better understand what you are seeking. And so if you are uncertain about something or you're wondering, do you do this service? Again, book your free discovery call with us, and we are happy to walk you through that.
And you help people that want to transition from different jobs. Like my
We
cousin
do.
just got out of the medical field. Now she's going into teaching. So stuff like that you can help them.
We absolutely
walk
do.
through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I know someone personally who's trying to go through a career transition, and to make sure you cover this service, they are trying to make sure that their skills that they know are tangible in another field, but may not translate as easily through a resume
Yep.
or job.
Transferable skills.
Yeah, there you go.
Transferables.
And if they would
Absolutely.
visit our website, they will see that that's one of our targets. People transitioning from one career to the next.
No, that's real.
No, it is.
It's my
It
wife
is.
actually.
It
No,
is.
I won't.
It is.
And then let me say this. I'm going to start the way that I ended. You don't know how much you actually need and utilize human resources. So we got you. Just let us know.
This
And
has
be on the
been great.
lookout for free workshops that we will offer.
Say that again. Free.
Absolutely.
Y'all heard that
Free
now.
99.
Free
We got to give
workshops.
you a taste. We got to give you a
Right.
taste of what we can do. Not
You
a,
get a full entree
not a
just
whole
yet.
plate.
Right. Just
You
get
get
an
a little
appetizer.
you get a little-
Appetizer.
You get a little horse the overs.
A little horse divorce.
Horse divorce.
It has been a pleasure sitting down with you guys. You have dropped so much knowledge. Hopefully, well, I know somebody will use this because we will absolutely use it ourselves.
Thank you.
So yes, you have been a pleasure. Thank you.
And shout out to
Thank you
them
for
for hanging
having
in there
us.
with us, talking about their branding. Our AC went out pre-show, so we were all kind of sitting here hot and going through it, and they really just hung in there and conversed with us and shared their crafts. That was really awesome.
Thank
Some
you so
important
much.
information.
Thank you
Yes,
so much.
thank you.
ladies. Yes.
Thank you again for having us.
Amen. All right.
And again, how can they find you guys? Drop your Instagram again. I'm sorry.
Russell Craigwell is our Instagram as well as our Facebook and LinkedIn. And then www.russellcraigwell.com.
Awesome. And if you want to check out the visual form of this podcast, please go to youtube.com/The Truth No Chaser. Again, that's youtube.com/The Truth No Chaser.
Yes, and if you want to keep up with us and all our fly content, all our fly merch, you can also visit us at thetruthnochaser.com.
Until next time, keep walking in your truth, Black people.